So today we're going to build a dye generator that has been requested from me a lot lately, especially ever since I created my concrete generator, which should be somewhere if I keep turning. There it is. So that concrete generator right there depends on concrete that it will produce white concrete unless you put dyes manually in it. So today we're going to build this dye generator, and if you find that at the end of this video you enjoyed it or you've learned something, maybe consider clicking that subscribe button. But let's go ahead and get started for now. First of all, we're going to get started with a 5x5 grass block surface, and then right next to it we want a 4x5 area of any kind of block, really. This is just going to be a surface where we're going to place some components, and then one block sticking out like this. And what we're going to do is we're going to go poke a hole right in the middle of the 5x5 area, and we're going to place a dispenser facing in any direction. It doesn't really matter at this point. And then we're going to right click this dispenser and place a bunch of bone meal. So this part of this dye generator is a manual process at the moment, but by the end of this I'll still show you how you can maybe improve it a little bit and connect it to a bread factory or something, but we'll see how that goes. Right under this, we're going to want to place 2 blocks like this and then go all the way across until we match this distance. So now we have something that looks like this. The next thing we're going to do is put a little bit of wiring here. There's going to be a repeater sitting right here facing that way, and then another repeater here. Now we're going to want to block this like that and then go 7 blocks back. I think I did 7. And you may not need all 7, but I'll show you why I'm doing it this long, and you'll see that a little bit later in the video. So now that this part is done, we can go ahead and do a little bit of wiring. What we're going to want to start with is redstone dust right here and then all the way across. This is very important. And then we're going to place repeaters on full 4 ticks all across the board, all across the width of this section. And then we're going to place observers facing that way. And it's very important that you do these things in this order. Otherwise, you're going to have dispensers dispensing water all over the place, and that's something that none of us wants. So I placed 5 dispensers pointing this way, and all of these observers are pointing into the dispensers. So now we're just gonna place water buckets in all of these dispensers, and we should be done with this part. So now that all of these dispensers have water in them, we might as well go ahead and build a frame around this area because we don't want water spilling all over the place. And we're going to take the frame 1 block away from the edge so that we can have our hoppers later that will collect the materials, and we'll go all the way around. Now since we're almost done with the planting circuit, I think it's time to set up some hoppers and some chests so that we don't actually lose items or have water flowing all over the place. So first we're going to need a chest right here, just 1 block under the layer of grass, and then we're going to have a hopper going into it. So you got to make sure that it's exactly the same level of grass because we're going to be pushing water through it. And now we're going to have 2 hoppers on each side by pressing shift and right clicking the center hopper so that they point into it. As you can see, those 2 are pointing this way and those 2 are pointing this way, and then this one is going into the chest, so that anything that gets dropped in here now is going to end up in the chest. The circuit is going to be super simple. It's just a clock that makes sure this thing keeps running over and over and over. So what we're going to do is we're going to put an adjustable repeater and set it to 10 ticks right here. And then we're going to put an adjustable pulse repeater and we're going to set it to 2 seconds. And this is going to ensure that we're not over firing the system. Obviously you can set this to 1 second or less and test it on your own. You can change the adjustments on the repeaters or something like that. So definitely test it out for your own system, but this is the best setting that I found works for me here. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to attach it to a very simple observer clock where 2 observers are pointing into each other. And what you're going to see now is that the system is going to fire. The bone meal is getting released, or is it? It doesn't look like the bone meal is getting released, so let's double check and see what's going on here. What's going on is very simple. It looks like we did not connect this bottom line, so I only put the repeaters here at the beginning, so what we're going to want to do is put a line of redstone over. And so immediately we're seeing flowers get planted. Whenever the bone meal gets released into the soil, you get a bunch of weeds, and then a couple of flowers, and sometimes you get some flowers that jump over the surface here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to build a little cover on top of it, so that would actually prevent us from losing plants that go all the way up. Okay, this is much better, and now it looks like everything is just getting harvested and placed into the hoppers. And if we look into the chest now, we see already a ton of flowers here. So as you can imagine, this dye farm is going to be very efficient, and the only part left now is hooking up the create mod parts, which are the crushing wheels and some rotation sources. So let's go ahead and get started on that. So now it's time to find a spot for our crushing wheels, and they're going to be 2 blocks under the chest and then 1 block behind and to the side. And I hope that's not confusing, but you can see what I mean is we just need them right here, and then we need to have a hopper going in there. So if we start with the hopper, it might even be easier. But with that, we're going to need another hopper here and then a chest sitting right under the hopper, and then all we need now is to rotate this, which is extremely simple. We're gonna place 2 gear shifts here. We're gonna place this guy right here, another gear shift. Well, actually we're gonna need the vertical gear shift here, so let's use that one. And then we put the fan, the magma block, and then we power the fan. And it rotates the right way. And you won't even believe how fast this thing works. Look at this, it produces dye almost as fast as the flowers are getting into the crushing wheels at this insanely slow speed. So imagine what happens if you put it at a faster speed, but I don't even think you need to. Like, if we're connecting this to our concrete farm, then this is already running a lot faster than that. This right here can be a problem because you don't want a clock running forever. It might cause lag. It might, just generally not be a pleasant experience with all this clicking, especially if you don't need any dye at the moment, and the fact that the farm can produce dye at really high speeds. So we're just gonna grab a sticky piston and a lever. It looks like we already have a lever, but we don't have a sticky piston yet. So let's grab the sticky piston, and then we just place it here, and then we place the lever right here. So now we can power on the piston, power it off, and the entire farm gets completely turned off, and you get one final release, so you don't even have plants growing there. And obviously these things aren't going to stop, so you get everything. And I mean, can you believe it? We got all of this since the time I just went up there to set up this thing, and I really did it right away. So it's pretty amazing how fast and efficient this thing is. And I think that now you know how to build one of these. But it's a little bit trickier to connect it to the concrete generator, because what I want to do is I kind of want to have a little sorter coming out of this, and then you can have a few levers so you can actually control which color gets into the concrete generator. Now obviously these are the basic colors. If you want to get other colors like light blue or some other things, you're going to have to mix some of your dyes manually or go for the crazy recipes for some of them. I think black dye isn't something that you can mix into existence. So either way, this is pretty good. We're going to go ahead and connect it to the concrete generator right now. So first of all, I'm going to go ahead and stop the farm because there's no need for us to be generating all this concrete right now, since our goal is to have colored concrete and not concrete that is, well, white. So what we're going to do is we're going to start by connecting a conveyor belt to this chest right here. So it's going to be right here, so that we're going to have a funnel coming out of the conveyor belt, and we're going to make the conveyor belt 1, 2, 3, I would say 5 wide, because that's the amount of the number of dyes that we're going to be able to generate, and we're going to connect that. So let me grab a funnel real quick, and I think I could have just grabbed it from the machine, but either way, we're going to put the funnel right here. So this funnel is going to be unlocked, and in fact it can actually be an andesite funnel, I believe. It doesn't need to be a brass funnel. And now we place 5 chutes up here, and then we go ahead and I think place 5 chests above it, because I want to make sure that we don't mix up the dyes and we always get the right dye. And since we have 5 chests and this is going to be a sorter, we're placing 5 more here. And I'm going to add 1 more to this thing. Just gonna use this that. We place the shaft. And then let's grab a belt and connect it. And that will bring us to our previous step. Here. And the chest. Okay, so this is the basic setup. Let's go ahead and add some sorting above it. So I'm just going to stick all of these colors in these filters so that we can fill each one of these chests with the appropriate color. And this filter, this sorter is a pretty good thing to have with the dye generator either way. So I wouldn't highly advise against it. I would actually just recommend that you do this. So we're going to get the belt from here and we're going to connect these. And now all that we need to do is release the dyes that arrive from the dye generator on this one, where they get sorted in here. We might want to add a little bit of a trash chest at the end so that, we can get anything that gets mixed, anything that gets missed, or maybe if we get other colors that we hadn't accounted for. I'm not entirely sure because I haven't run these dye generators that much. And so now we just need to get some rotation going for this guy right here. So I'm gonna flick this back on so we can get the right direction. Oh my god, did you see that? Did I break any shafts? It doesn't look like it, so this would not be a big problem, and please pretend like you didn't see it. So we turned... Oh, did we lose that shaft? No, everything is good. Okay, so now we're just gonna need a little bit of a rotation. I think this is probably the best spot. So we grab something like this and then something like this, and this looks like it's rotating the right way. So let's go ahead and connect it with a shaft. And I think, yep, everything is turning the right way. So we just need to connect the other shaft and then we can actually hook up the dye generator. So basically it's just going to be something like this, and we don't need to make it that complex. There we are. So now the farm is just going to be connected here. So let's go ahead and load up that schematic and we'll see how it goes. Okay, so it looks like I finally found the right spot. Looks like there's no intersection or anything that's bothering anything, so we can go ahead and deploy. Okay, so, and I heard it firing because I think that, what is it? Dispensers tend to fire whenever you do create mod stuff to them, whenever you move them, and apparently whenever you deploy them with a schematic. So let's go ahead and power this on. What's going to happen is we're going to start to get... I hope the bone meal got copied as well. Do schematics carry items with them? No, they don't. So let's get some bone meal in here. Okay. And now we're having some flowers. Oh, obviously the water buckets are also gone, so... We're gonna get some water buckets. Let's get 5 of them because that's the amount we need. Okay, so I ended up increasing the time on this adjustable pulse repeater to 3 seconds and it started working, which is extremely strange because it was working a second ago, and I went and checked the one that we did for the tutorial and it had to get the same adjustment. It was also not working, which is pretty insane to me, but either way, I think this is maybe a little bit of a quirk with the adjustable repeaters, or the combination of this really fast pulse with this guy was causing a little bit of confusion. So if you ever run into an issue where there's just too much water for the plants to grow, maybe increase the timer on one of those repeaters out there. So now we're actually running. So let's go ahead and see what's going on with the system. I don't like these, so we're gonna get rid of them. And then let's see, there's already some blue dye in here. White dye in here. There's 16 light gray. We don't have any green yet, but we have 6 red. And we have 10 yellow. So since yellow is the winner with the biggest number, obviously, we have light gray, but I don't want light gray concrete. So we're just going to turn this on. And that is releasing the yellow concrete, as you may have just noticed, and it's also going to release any yellow concrete that comes in. So whenever yellow concrete is produced, it's going directly into our system. It's going right here, it's going to the hopper, and I do remember setting this machine up so that if there is any color coming in... Oh wait, was there a switch that I had to flick? I don't remember. Okay, so after much searching, I discovered that the problem was just that the dyes were going into the mechanical mixer and then getting expelled right away, and they were falling like somewhere around here, which was causing a lot of issues, essentially. So what I did was I replicated this structure, which is the redstone link that allows these smart shoes to release items, and I added one more just to the side of the dyes. And now that we've done that, I think it's actually worth automating this just a little bit more with some more redstone links. And what I hope to do here, let's use some new combination. And basically all of these are going to have the same redstone link and they're all in transmit mode. And what I want them to do is to activate this thing right here so that we don't actually have to do it manually. I want it to activate whenever we enable one of the colors. And you saw that was extremely simple. Like basically if I enable yellow now, what's going to happen is this is going to turn on and it's going to lock this hopper and prevent any white dye from going into the system. You know what? I've never actually tried sending items directly into a hopper like this. What if it works? Who knows? Let's do this. We're gonna do this. And then we need a horizontal gearbox. Oh, but the direction is gonna be reversed, isn't it? Oh no, they're still spinning the right way somehow. Okay, so with that said, let's take a look. What's gonna happen to items? Do we have anything here? I don't have anything here. Let's place some red dye, which is the correct thing. Ooh, they're going into the hopper. That's perfect. That's perfect, so I didn't need to worry. We can collect 5 stacks here, and everything should be good. Okay, so since this is one of the strangest issues I've seen, is discrepancy in timing, and it may have something to do with the fact that I have 2 million rotating things in this world. I don't really know, because this thing is set up exactly like this on the right, but it's not behaving the same way. So what I did here is I just went ahead and connected them like this. Now, what I want to do is get a current from this torch, which doesn't seem like is something that I'm doing right now. So maybe if we go here, yeah, that would allow us to do it. So we don't need these or this, and we can go right. So whenever that one is locked, this one is locked, this should be perfect. And if it actually gives us 2, then maybe we can reduce the amount of the pole. So right here, producing yellow, blue concrete. Let's turn it off and see if we can produce another color now that the dye generator has been generating. So now we're gonna flick on yellow. Obviously we're gonna get a couple of white as well, but this time I'm gonna be patient and we're gonna wait it out. You'll see we're gonna have just a number of white concrete blocks generated, and then after that we're gonna have some yellow. Unfortunately, while I was trying to be patient and wait, I had an issue with my recording and it stopped, and so here we are. We're getting the yellow concrete. Everything is running very smoothly, surprisingly. So basically what I expect now is if we turn off the yellow concrete from here, and then we turn on, well, let's make sure we have some of whatever we're gonna try. There's 2 green dye, that's not enough. 20 blue. Okay, there's 56 red, so we're gonna use some red. And now I imagine there's gonna be some stuck in here, so we wanna take that out. And then there's going to be some in here, because I want to switch to red right away. And essentially the system is built so that any dye that's stuck in the system is going to get used before you get to the new color. So if you actually are in a hurry, like I am, to get to the new color, you want to clean the system from all of the previous stuff. And now we should have red dye getting deposited into the system. Hopefully, doesn't look like it, but you know, let's clear and make sure. There it is. There it is. So it required 1 clear, and now we're producing red dye. So that's kind of a little downside that I'm finding to this, is that the dye is not getting put in at the right time sometimes. So whenever there isn't enough dye for the system, and the system flashes these smart chutes off to bring in the items, is going to bring sand and gravel and not dye, and then that's it. The system will get locked. And so that's why you need to right click here and clear the basin in order to get the concrete to be changed to the new color. And so as you can see, we've had a lot of successful generation here, and it looks like this machine is completed. I'm going to grab a schematic of this whole thing and put it in the description, but if you have any suggestions or comments on this, and if you weren't here for the last video, I did release my Discord server, so you can go in there and post any suggestions or versions of this thing that you have. But other than that, I hope that you've enjoyed this video, and if you have, and if you are new to this channel, then please consider subscribing, and I want to thank you for watching, and I hope to see you next time.